In our culture today, most of us are pretty connected to our cell phones or our laptops or whatever. It's nice to disconnect, and if you disconnect from all the noise and all the clutter, it just frees you, it simplifies your life to connect to the things that matter the most. My name is Lisa Mickey. I live in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. I'm a freelance writer and a Florida Master Naturalist. I work at the Marine Discovery Center. I love to get in the kayak and just go paddle. I tell my friends that sometimes I go to a place that's so quiet you can hear the oysters snap shut. Nature's just always been important. You know, it shaped my childhood, it shaped what I wanted to do in my life. So I think nature just opens up this amazing book and teaches you. It just teaches you every day, every way you turn. Death of a Naturalist by Seamus Heaney. All year the flax stem festered in the heart of the townland. Green and heavy-headed flax had rotted there, weighted down by huge sods. Daily it sweltered in the punishing sun. Bubbles gargled delicately. Blue bottles wove a strong gauze of sound around the smell. There were dragonflies, spotted butterflies, but best of all was the warm, thick slobber of frog spawn that grew like clotted water in the shade of the banks. Here every spring I would fill jam potfuls of the jellied specks to range on window sills at home, on shelves at school, and wait and watch until the fattening dots burst into nimble swimming tadpoles. Miss Walls would tell us how the daddy frog was called a bullfrog, and how he croaked, and how the mammy frog laid hundreds of little eggs, and this was frog spawn. You could tell the weather by frogs too, for they were yellow in the sun and brown in the rain. I've always liked that poem even before I was a certified naturalist. And I think the reason I liked it was the poem sort of is spoken through a child's voice. It is fluid. It's kind of that whole water theme and the creatures that live in the water, very much like what I do now. But it's the same feeling, the same reverence for nature and how things live there and how they're a part of our world. Death of a Naturalist could also be the birth of the poet. In the second part of the poem, and sees these frogs in a more menacing way. The boy wonders if these giant frogs will take revenge for the tadpoles he's collected. And from the naturalist emerged the poet. You know, when I'm in the kayak by myself sometimes, I just look up at the sky and I'm like, wow, this is almost too good to be real. It's very soothing. It's even spiritual. It's free. It doesn't cost anything, and it's totally satisfying for me. I worked as a journalist. I covered things like education and police beat and a lot of things that were, you know, indoors and pretty intense. And long story short, I ended up being a golf writer. And so I've covered golf for about 25 years or so. And being a golf writer allowed me to be outdoors and to continue that little connection with nature. Working as a Florida Master Naturalist at Marine Discovery Center, I'm one of the eco tour narrators. So I do a lot of narration in kayak trips, and then also on a 40-passenger boat eco tour. People really get an understanding of what we're talking about here, the trees, the birds, the various species that live in this saltwater habitat. From the smallest children, you know, we're teaching them there's red and black and white mangroves, and there's plankton in the water, and the oysters eat the plankton, and by the time they're older kids, they know an incredible amount. Many of them will go on into marine science. You know, the cool thing is with nature, you never know it all. As much as you study, as much as you think you know, if you can teach children these things, their eyes are open, and as adults, they're going to be more attuned to taking care of it for the next generation. Then one hot day, when fields were rank with cow dung and the grass, the angry frogs invaded the flax dam. I ducked through hedges to a coarse croaking that I had not heard before. The air was thick with a bass chorus. Right down the dam, gross-bellied frogs were cocked on sods. Their loose necks pulsed like sails. Some hopped. The slap and plopped were obscene threats. Some sat poised like mud grenades, their blunt heads farting. I sickened, turned, and ran. The great slime kings were gathered there for vengeance, and I knew that if I dipped my hand, the spawn would clutch it.